You guys, it is day 13 and I am back from Florida and ready to get back on these challenges. And I apologize for being so absent the past week or so. I had the opportunity to go to Florida with Boston and Bailey, who were chosen, their group was chosen last year as 5th graders, 5th through 12th graders. They were chosen as 5th graders to represent the science experiment. And you can go back a few videos, and Bailey was explaining in front of everybody at the NASA Center what their science experiment was, and I even have a video of the launch. But I want to tell you a little bit about some things that happened, and I didn't expect them to happen. So it really took me off guard. But as I've been thinking about them this morning, my kids are back in school for the first time since we got back. I just am so overwhelmed with the love that Heavenly Father has for those twins and for me and for each of you. When we were there, we had a really great time. We went to Universal and everything seemed to be going good. The date had slipped to the end of our trip, but it was Saturday morning and we were supposed to fly home Saturday afternoon. And we got to the launch early in the morning. I'm talking early. And we sat and did the countdown, and when it got to 13 seconds, one of the systems had some apprehension and they decided not to launch it. So 13 seconds, we're waiting for it to go in the air and it stops. And like, everybody's just looking around like, wait a minute, what? So the whole thing is rescheduled for the next day and we're supposed to fly home that night. And I called the airline. I had to be separated from my group, my girls, because they were on a VIP bus. So I got on the regular bus with the rest of the moms. We went back to the NASA Center, Kennedy Center, and they went to watch a video, and I'm like, I'm going to do everything I can to change this ticket. There has to be a way for these girls to see this launch. Boston is bawling as she's leaving, and I can't even comfort her. There's got to be a way that I can fix this. I'm their mom. I can fix this. So I called Southwest, and I told them the whole story, and I begged them they said it was going to be like $900 to change this ticket. And with no guarantee the next day that it was actually going to launch. It could be like the same story. We could get there, spend the whole day. I'm like, $900 plus a hotel, plus all the overpriced food around here. All these things are going to rack up, and then we might have the same story. And I just couldn't justify spending that much money. But I had that pit in my stomach like, oh, there's got to be a way to fix this. So we get to the airport, check our bags, get all ready to go. We're waiting at the terminal. And I was just kind of talking with this lady. They had just gotten done with a cruise with 3 of their kids. And we were just talking back and forth. And we kind of told her what was going on and what a bummer it was that we were going to miss it possibly the next day. And little did I know, she sent her husband over to talk to one of the agents. And so they're calling the A group on our plane. Our plane's about to board, and this lady like taps on my shoulder and she's like, hey, I heard you're in quite the pickle. And I think I can help you. Will you hand me your tickets? And I hand her my tickets, and she comes back with tickets for the next day. And she says, I think you guys deserve to be at this launch tomorrow. So why don't you take your girls and go see the launch? And I burst into tears because I'd been sitting there all day trying to figure out how to change these tickets. And you're going to think it's crazy that I'm crying about this, but it was just kind of one of those reminders of how many times Heavenly Father has been there for me and been there for my kids. So it was really, I didn't know where we were going to sleep or how we were going to get there. I didn't know anything, but I knew that somebody had been looking out for us. So that was just the beginning. So we go, I'm like, okay, so I guess we're going, and we just grabbed, and she's like, one thing, you're not going to have your suitcases because they're already on your plane. But it'll be worth it. So just go. So we go downstairs to get a rental car, and there are hundreds of people in every single rental car company's line. And I turn over to this lady, I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, oh, this is like everybody's winter break. We all come to Florida every year. Everyone I know is here. And I'm like, oh, great. And this guy behind her goes, yeah, and dumb me, I didn't get a rental car, so I guess I'm just going to be standing in every line all day because I've stood in every line and I can't find a single car. So I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. So we're stuck here now with nowhere to get there. And I said this little prayer, like, I know that you've done a lot in the last 10 minutes to get us to be able to stay here, but I just need one car. If there's a car around here that is available, help me to know where to find it, because there are lines going out these doors and I don't know how I'm gonna get there. So I stick my twins in one line and I stand in another line, and they get up to their line first. So I went over, got in their line, and walk up to the guy, and he's like, "Oh dude, you don't have a reservation? There are no cars for miles. I don't know how you're gonna get a car." And we just kind of were sitting there talking to him, and he's just looking through all the different size cars, and he's like, "Yeah, there's not even like a van, nothing." And he's like, "Oh wait," as I'm about to walk away, he's like, "Wait, there's one car. It's clear on the other side of the airport, so you're gonna have to walk through the airport, but I guess if you want it, it's yours." I don't know where this one came from. He types in my name, I give him my credit card, we go get our car. So it was like, check, check, check. Then I get a message from a lady I don't know, a mutual friend of a friend, who said, "Hey, we're just on vacation here for the week, and I saw on Instagram that your girls and you are gonna miss your launch, but if there's any way you can get your flights changed, we have an extra spot that you could sleep." And so we went and stayed at her house. And then another one of my widow friends that I'd never met before called me and said, "Hey, if you guys are still in town, I'd love to take you to dinner." So it was just like miracle after miracle, which seemed really small probably to anybody who wasn't there. But for me, I just, by the time that rocket went off the next morning, which it almost didn't do because of the rain, I was so overwhelmed with the love the Heavenly Father had for me. And I know that it was something probably really small, you know, in his eyes, like, this isn't that big of a deal, but for me, it was so symbolic of all of the times he's been there for us. And I was looking over at my girls for a second in that launch. And 6 years ago, I remember they were in kindergarten and they were struggling so bad. And I thought, you know, this is going to be what holds them back in their life. This is going to be what makes them not succeed. I mean, your father was murdered and your mom's a mess. And I looked over at them during that launch and looked out at this launch going up with a science experiment that they had created to go into space, to the Space Center. And then the Space Center people, astronauts up there, are going to put it together and they're going to send it back to them so they can see if it worked. Like once in a lifetime thing. And they had this chance and we got to see it go into space. And it was just like one of those perfect moments. Not because of a shuttle launching into space, or a rocket, I keep calling it a shuttle, but because of so many miracles that I know Heavenly Father has given us. So that's my message today. When we want to heal from trauma, we have to go back in moments that remind us of His love, and in moments that remind us that there are angels and there are miracles that happen for us. We have to go back and remember that even in those hard moments, they were there. Even in those times when we thought we were forgotten, if you go back to Him, you will find His love, because it's there. And it might not be a rental car or a lady who comes and changes your airline tickets, but it might be something so small for everyone else, but it was big for you. Somebody came and reminded you that you were loved. And another thing that I want you to look for, because for me, I don't know, sometimes I doubt that this world has anything good left in it. And that's been one of my battles. But there's good people. Like 5 good people who had no idea who we are really. I mean, they just wanted to help because of the kindness of their hearts. And we can be those people. I've talked about that before. We can be those people for others. I had the opportunity to have those people be there for me. And it makes me want to go out and be there for somebody else who's maybe in that moment that they can't do anything about their circumstance, but somebody else could help them. So today, I want you to look for those miracles. Go back in your journal. Go back and remember those miracles that have happened just for you. That Heavenly Father's love has been there just for you, for your kids, for your story. And tomorrow, I will be here. We're gonna carry on with this challenge, and I hope that it will make a difference, not only in your life, but in the life of the people around you that you can make a difference for.